But
so if you could only play, all right, let's do this. Let's say you're trapped in a cabin for 10 years.
cabin.
Yeah, cabin out in the woods, 10 years. You can have one game to play for 10 years. You can't leave the cabin. You can't go outside. You can't go anywhere. All you can do for 10 straight years.
Is there internet?
Yeah.
Okay. Mountain Blade Warband. You don't know what that is, but that's like my game. Like that is my game. Mountain Blade Warband has a very small community, but I probably spent like 6 years of my life just addicted to that game. Because
6 years.
Mm-hmm.
How many hours of playtime do you have on that game?
I don't actually have that much as I should. I have like over 1,000, like literally over 1,000.
Over 1,000 hours of playtime?
Mm-hmm. Some people have like tens of thousands. But
how many hours is that?
What do you mean?
How many, or not how many hours? I mean, how many days is that?
Days? Let's see. That's quite a lot. That's over a year. Well, over a year. So it's like just like 3 years. Or
it's only
wait, hours. I'm thinking days.
It's 41 days.
41 days.
41.6 days.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was days.
So you've wasted 41.6 days of your life on that game.
Yeah, but I played it for like over 41 days over the course of 6 years. I thought I had more than that. But basically, like what would happen is there was this mod for the game called Napoleonic Wars, and I'm a big history buff, so I love that. And you find these communities, these called regiments, and you get these guys together, and like you have ranks. So everybody has a rank, and each rank has authority. And so you start up from the bottom, and you work your way up a community of players to become like you just don't have to do anything. You just kind of play as you play. But I started out as a recruit, and I got into a private, and I was part of a regiment.
And who picks like your rank?
It was whoever found the regiment. Whoever founds the regiment is the colonel of the regiment, and people below them, like their friends, get to be the second highest rank, third highest rank, and people that come in afterwards get to be low rank. So they decide, like people at the top decide everything that happens in the regiment. But I came into a regiment that was already founded, and my friend brought me in, but he was like a captain.
He recruited you.
Yeah, he was our recruiter, and nice. So we had a colonel, and my friend brought me in, and he was like a captain. So he's like 5th, 6th rank, like the highest rank, and he brought me in as the lowest rank, and it took me like 2 years to work it took me 6 months to get past recruit because I was just being neglected. And I got
you were being neglected.
Yeah, they never.
Who was neglecting you?
Everyone, all the commanders, all the higher ups. But,
did you speak to your colonel?
I spoke to him, but I didn't ask for him. I didn't ask for.
But he didn't care.
I didn't ask for. He was a horrible colonel. I didn't ask for promotions. Like I just kind of played as I played. And
was it that guy that I think one time I joined like one of your all's like voice chats or whatever, and he was like an older guy that sounded like he smoked like 12 packs of cigarettes a day.
Maybe
was that the guy?
It might have been. He was. I'm pretty sure he was on drugs, but
and he was a bad colonel.
He wasn't a bad guy. He was a bad colonel. He wasn't a bad guy. He was fun to be around. And he was always fun to have in the game. But when it came to leadership and like actually handling people, he was just god awful. But I became like a private, and then I went from private to a corporal to a lance corporal to a corporal, and I got to a position where in my regiment there was a falling out, and we had a leadership change up. So the sergeant above me decided that he just had enough, and he quit, and then it left a power vacuum, and I was
left a what?
Power vacuum. Like there was no one above like a certain amount of people. Like there was a bunch of lance corporals, but there was no sergeant, and there was no sergeant, no lieutenant, nobody in charge of our side of the regiment, because it was split in the middle between North America and Europe, and the Europeans had all the power, and the North Americans, us, had one sergeant. So it was like a really, really bad situation, but we liked it anyway.
What was it that was what was there that would keep you from like just like changing yourself to be like whatever you wanted to be?
Well, you couldn't, because you didn't have only people that were trusted had power in the team speak to give themselves ranks, and ranks were like seen on. Was
all of the rank in the team speak?
Yes, all the ranks were in the team speak, and like, but like it was a social construct. Like you had to Like everybody had to acknowledge your rank.
So this was like a like you're in prison, but like in a game.
Well, sure.
Like
in the military, but in the game.
No, we're military. Prison, same thing.
Yeah. But and people with enough power had like TeamSpeak abilities to kick you out of the Discord. I mean, not just TeamSpeak, and they could like move you around and put you in timeout and stuff like that.
Why was it in TeamSpeak and not Discord?
Because Discord wasn't a thing back then. Like way back when we started that. Like first started, Discord wasn't out yet.
What do you mean?
Like when we first started the regiment.
This was what, like 6 or 7 years ago?
This was like 4 years ago.
Discord wasn't around 4 years ago?
I don't think in the beginning it was, but it came out later on, and we had already been like established in TeamSpeak when it came out, so we didn't care. But because it takes a long time to build TeamSpeak up, like to build it properly, and but we liked TeamSpeak better. There was a power vacuum, and I was like the oldest guy.
Was it like a Dirt Devil?
Yeah,
or a Dyson?
Both.
Okay,
and but like I had been like the oldest member of the NA side for there, so I was like the oldest guy.
Could you guys have like? Could all of you guys have like banded together and like caused like an anarchy?
That's exactly what we did. I'm getting to it.
No, okay.
There was a coup.
A coup
led by me, kind of.
So you started the anarchy?
No, I'm getting to it. So I was the oldest guy there in terms of like experience of the regiment. And so the colonel came out, Mal was his name, and he was like Mal, and he was like, because I was called Spledgy, and he was like,
as you do,
yeah, as you do. And he was like, Spledgy, you've been around for a long time. I think you'll be the next sergeant. Actually, you know what? You'll be a lieutenant. And I was like, we've never had a lieutenant before. And he let me choose. We didn't actually. He picked my sergeant for me because lieutenant sergeant, he's under me. And this other guy that he was like a recruit or a private, and he hadn't like been there for too long, but he was in the room with me when I was talking to Mal about like the rankings, and Mal just said, are you with Spudgy? He was like, yeah, and he was like, all right, you'll be sergeant. What? Okay, because there were people. He was there for like had been there for like a few months, and there had been people that were there for years before him. So it was like out of nowhere. Everybody hated that he got rank sergeant out of nowhere. Like it was a tough situation for him, and he didn't even want it. But he became sergeant. I became lieutenant. And we had to like put this NA side back together, and we became very close. Everybody on the NA side. And
what do you mean NA side?
NA North America side of the regiment, because it was split in two.
So one was North America, and one was Europe.
Yes, and the Europeans had all the higher ranks. So like I was a lieutenant, and above me was the captains and the lieutenant colonel. Like, well, the colonel's American actually, but he was. Did
you ever think, because like you guys would have like wars with like other regiments and stuff, right?
It was regiment versus regiment. Like we'd have like battlefields where it'd be like our regiment plus like 3 or 4 other regiments.
Did you ever think about maybe like start like you and like all your friends start like a secret regiment that like, and like you just pretend like you didn't know who they were, and then just like come over to the regiment you're supposed to be a part of and just like wreak havoc, and then have them just be like, I don't know what's going on.
You could see what like the regiment tags are. Like, everybody has their own regiment tags.
You couldn't change your tags?
You have to get like the perfect tag, and if no one recognized you, you get caught out. Like people would be like, who's that guy? He has our tags, but I don't know his name. But so it was difficult to like infiltrate. But we did have infiltrators. Like people would come in from other regiments and pretend to join our regiment in order to just stir things up in our regiment.
So there's just like drama.
Yeah, there was so much drama because there was our colonel was a puppet from the EU side. There was this one guy that named Itchy, and he was like the big bad of the regiment. He was a big baddie, and he was puppeting Mal. Like he would make Mal do everything, and he got all the power, and Mal would always listen to him because Mal was bad at conflict. Like when 2 people fought in the regiment, like when 2 people had a fight, he just said, work it out.
Like how can you be like really like bad at conflict like over a video game? Because like it's not like you're sitting in the room with them. Like you're sitting at your house.
But you have power. Like you can move them out of the chamber. You can kick them out. And it's all about social like interactions. Like everything has to be done socially. You can't just beat someone up. So, but there's a lot of respect in the regiment for the higher ups.